Hi there, this is Solitude from Solitude Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review is John Carpenter's TV movie, Someone's Watching Me. This is made in 1978. This was before he directed Halloween, so he'd only directed Dark Star and Assault on Precinct 13. He'd written the script for this, and he'd put it in the proviso that he'd direct, so he ended up directing it. It was shot in about 10 days at Warner Brothers. This is a Scream Factory edition, which is a very nice 2K scan of the film. It's got interviews with Adrienne Barbeau and Charles Cyphers. It's got an audio commentary by author Amanda Reyes, and a short featurette with John Carpenter. The reason I'm doing a random review because I really enjoyed this film. It's the first time I've seen it, and it's rocketed into my John Carpenter top 10. So I've actually had to reorder my John Carpenter top 10. I'll reveal the shocks of which film gets bumped out of the top 10 in a little moment. This stars Lauren Hutton, who was a model turned actress, like so many other actresses, like Famke Janssen and Charlize Theron. And she plays a TV director who moves from New York to LA and buys this lovely apartment which overlooks, there's two apartment blocks that overlook each other. It was actually shot in Santa Monica, but it's supposed to be downtown LA. And she starts receiving letters and presents and phone calls that get more and more annoying and more creepy. So she initially tells Adrienne Barbeau, who's one of her work colleagues, and then she meets a guy in a bar and falls for him, and then he helps her out as well. So it's your basic stalker premise, but it's just so well done. Again, shot in 10 days. Lauren Hutton's character is kind of sassy and funny and strong, and yes, there's bits where she breaks down because it just gets, things happen and it just gets to the breaking point. But it's funny because when I was thinking about while I was watching it, despite the fact that Carpenter helped create Scream Queens with Halloween and Jamie Lee Curtis, if you actually think about his films, most of the female characters are strong characters. They're not hysterical women who need a man to help them out. And Adrienne Barbeau's character and Lauren Hutton's character in this are no exceptions. Adrienne Barbeau's character is a lesbian, and it's just kind of matter-of-factly, Lauren Hutton essentially left New York because of a failed relationship to a guy, and they have this conversation, and Adrienne Barbeau asks, who was he, and Lauren Hutton says it's a long story, and then Lauren Hutton asks Adrienne Barbeau who was he, and Adrienne Barbeau just says she. And for 1978, there's no jokes about being gay, or, you know, Adrienne Barbeau's character isn't like a two-dimensional pastiche. It's just kind of, oh, you like women, never mind. And it's just so well written. So well written, in fact, that Adrienne Barbeau assumed that John Carpenter wrote it from experience, and she actually thought John Carpenter was gay initially. And obviously later on in the set, it was when John Carpenter first made his approach to Adrienne Barbeau, who would eventually be married to him for several years, or be in a relationship with him for several years. But it's just for 1978. It's actually quite forward thinking. The film itself has some really good jump scares. There's some good false scares. There's some nice action in the background in one scene that's really quite well done. And it's funny because obviously the same year he would then go and do Halloween, which of course has some interesting scenes going on in the background of characters. He says himself it might not be a template for Halloween, but certainly some of the techniques that he uses in Someone's Watching Me is kind of repeated in Halloween. So it's quite a nice little double bill you could have for Halloween. Charles Cyphers turns up as the cop, who initially can't really do much about phone calls and letters and presents. But as the story evolves and things happen, which I'm not going to spoil, then Charles Cyphers takes more of a proactive role. There's a scene which I suppose you would call Hitchcockian, through each other's telescopes, when Lauren Hutton breaks into the guy's flat and uses his telescope to view her flat while something's going on in her flat. It's about 97 minutes long, 91 minutes long. It rattles along. It's fantastically paced. Really well acted, and a nice little template for what would come from John Carpenter. So I said it's a shock because it goes into my Carpenter top 10, and I will now reveal which film gets bumped out, and it's the film that he would do later this year, and it's Halloween, which was number 10 in my list, because I'm not the biggest fan of Halloween. I know that makes me very strange. So the reordered list is now at 10, Big Trouble in Little China. Number 9 is Christine. Number 8 is Dark Star. Number 7 is The Fog. And number 6 is Someone's Watching Me. Because I actually was thinking I would watch Someone's Watching Me, or I would prefer to watch Someone's Watching Me rather than The Fog, Dark Star, Christine, or Big Trouble in Little China, or Halloween. The top 5 remains the same. That's In the Mouth of Madness, Escape from New York, They Live, Assault on Precinct 13, and The Thing. So I hope you enjoyed this random review. I hope the shock of Halloween getting dropped from the top 10 John Carpenter films hasn't ruined your day. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen Someone's Watching Me and what you thought of it. And thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again. This is Solitude Rowan saying farewell.